In today's takeover battle, we have the North London Derby, Arsenal versus Spurs. I'm going to be taking over both teams for 5 seasons, and whoever wins the most trophies wins the takeover battle. The wheel is back to cause chaos. Whatever number this wheel lands on at the start of every season is the amount of transfers I am allowed to make. I feel like it's only fair to let the wheel decide because it's basically choosing everything else in this takeover. So, who am I going to be taking over first? And it looks like I'm going to be taking over Tottenham Hotspur for the first 5 seasons of this takeover battle. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is the starting 11 I have loaded into a Spurs side, and I know I give Spurs a lot of grief, but I can't discredit how good this team actually is on paper. The likes of Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, and of course Eric Dyer, the absolute GOAT of defenders. They do have some decent squad depth as well. This Spurs side isn't that bad at all. And we all know how tight Daniel Levy is, but he's given us 105 million to start this takeover with. Not bad at all. I do have quite a few players I'd like to bring into this Spurs side, however, we can't do anything until we spun the wheel. Okay, the wheel is spinning and deciding how many transfers we're allowed. This could genuinely dictate how well Spurs do in this takeover. Oh my god, it looks like the wheel's shafting Spurs early on. We aren't allowed to make a single transfer in this takeover in Season 1. But whilst we're not allowed any transfers in Season 1, there are a couple of things we can still do to make this team a little bit better. I think one key factor is the formation. I think it restricts Spurs so much. I'm thinking a 4-2-3-1 narrow formation and actually utilise the attacking options we've got. One thing I'm going to do to make that formation work is make Danjuma a central attacking midfielder. It only takes 4 weeks and his stats really complement the role well. All things considered, this wheel is pretty decent and it's going to be quite interesting to see how we do at the end of Season 1. I don't think this is a bad start. Spurs finished 4th at the end of Season 1 in the Premier League, as well as finishing above Chelsea and Arsenal. Unfortunately, no FA Cup for them this time. Let's take a look at no Carabao Cup either. Oh my god. They made it out to the group stage of the Champions League, which is decent. In the round of 16, they beat Ajax, okay. In the quarters, they actually beat PSG, oh my god. And in the semi-finals, Chelsea actually get the better of them. And in the final, Chelsea actually win the Champions League. And as you would expect, Heung-min Son and Harry Kane both did their part and then some this season carrying Spurs. In the end of season stats, Harry Kane, of course, is the top goal scorer. Bentancur is actually the top assister, but there is no trophies won this season. But did you know we just hit 10k on the channel and now pushing for 15,000 subscribers? So if you're not yet subscribed and are enjoying the video, maybe hit that subscribe button because it's free and it would make my day. Now, as we enter Season 2, you can clearly see the team is taking a hit with the absence of Pedro Porro and Kulusevski in the squad. Not only that, Lloris is coming to the end of his career, as well as Perisic. We do luckily have a good cam though. Lo Celso returned from his loan and has slotted straight into the starting 11. And if I don't get to spend any money in Season 2, I'm going to be livid. 274 million. All we need is 2 transfers and I can make this work. So it's now time to spin the wheel once again. Is it going to shaft us once again, or is it actually going to be nicer to us? Oh my god, I think we've just hit the jackpot in Season 2. 4 transfers and a hell of a lot of money to spend. The most important parts by a mile of this team to improve is our right winger, our right wing back, our goalkeeper, and also our left wing back. And with this amount of money, you best believe I'm using all of it. And our first signing is Dutch fullback Jeremy Frimpong, already 84 rated, 22 years old. I honestly think he's probably the best option. And he only cost 50 million. What an absolute bargain. With Frimpong added to the team, it's a decent start to what we can do, but we're nowhere near done yet. And our next signing was yet another fullback, this time Angelino for RB Leipzig, and he only cost us 42 million as well. We've got the money, don't get me wrong, but we are getting bargains left, right and centre. And now with Angelino in the team, I'm actually quite content with how the back four looks. Obviously, Eric Dyer at some point will need improving, but for now, there's more concerning matters at hand to deal with. We still need a right winger and a better keeper, and with over 170 million left in our budget, it's time we spent massive. And for just over 85 million, we got one of the best keepers we could get. Mike Magnan, a perfect predecessor to Hugo Lloris. And for our 4th and final transfer, I'm going to go for winger James Maddison. He's only got 12 months left on his contract, and you know exactly what that means, a cheaper player. And would you look at that, for just 40 million, we have James Maddison playing for Spurs. And would you take a look at Spurs now, this team looks like a trophy-winning team. And I've just realised we didn't necessarily need to bring in Angelino this whole time. Rahulian was on the subs bench. What an absolute plonker I am. But I've done all I can now. I've made this team better. It's time to see if the team itself can deliver. It's really not looking good so far. Spurs have finished 7th this time in the Premier League with an even better side than we fielded last season as well, bearing in mind. We made it to the final of the FA Cup before getting beaten by bloody Middlesbrough. Honest to God, Spurs, what are you doing to me? Thank God for that. We have finally won a trophy. It took us 2 seasons, but we beat Newcastle United in the Carabao Cup final. We're slowly filling up their trophy cabinet. We actually went undefeated in the group stage of the Champions League as well, which is very promising. Round of 16, we beat Sporting. That's decent. Quarterfinals, we batter Liverpool. In the semi-finals, we beat Dortmund. Have we actually won the Champions League as well? We've beaten Bayern Munich 3-2 in the final of the Champions League. That is trophy number 2 to the collection. How did we lose to Middlesbrough but beat Bayern Munich? That just doesn't make sense to me. Harry Kane is an absolute god, man. 40 goals in 61 games. This guy's just on another level. And the overall stats at the end of Season 2, Kane is now both our top goal scorer and assister. This man's on a different level. As well as that, we've now got 2 trophies to our cabinet. In Season 3, we're starting by spinning the wheel. Last season, we got 4 transfers. Let's see how many we get this time. Oh my god. Okay, we've gone from having 4 transfers in Season 2 to 1 transfer in Season 3. With us having 4 transfers last season, we pretty much strengthened the team in all of its weaknesses apart from one position, the centre-back. Eric Dyer is probably the weakest link in this team, and I think it's about time we improved it. And with over 250 million to spend on one player, I think we aren't short for funds. Now, I have made a very strong shortlist of players: Laporte from Milan, Tomori from Bayer Leverkusen, and Jules Koundé from Barcelona. They are all amazing players, but I think there's only one option to go for. Laporte is the only one who's actually won the Premier League, and that's one trophy we're really struggling to win, so that's why I brought him in for just over 70 million. With Laporte in this team, we are slowly making this squad an absolute monster. By the way, if I'm not mentioned already, none of these transfers are realistic because the goal of this video is to win as many trophies as possible, which, to be honest, is the whole reason I brought Laporte in the first place. But let's see if this team can finally do better in the Premier League. You know what? We have to take the wins where we can. We finished 2nd this season. Considering we're 7th last season, I consider that a W. We won the FA Cup by beating United on penalties. That is trophy number 3. Boys, we've got the domestic double. We beat Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final. That's 4 trophies now. This is ridiculous now. Make that 5 trophies because we won the Champions League yet again, beating Liverpool this time. But I think a big reason why we're doing so well, Harry Kane, what a player he is. And here are the overall stats at the end of Season 3. Kane is just running the show at the minute, and obviously now we've got 5 trophies in our cabinet. So we're starting Season 4 with this team, and quite frankly speaking, there's not many places that actually need improvement. Maybe we could improve our cam roll, and maybe we could improve the squad depth on the bench, or other than that, we are good to go. And the budget is actually ridiculous, 355 million. So let's go spin the wheel and see how many transfers we're allowed to make. We're honestly in that good of a position now with Spurs. I don't care what number we've got as long as it isn't 0. Okay, looks like we've got 3 transfers that we're allowed to make this season. That is plenty for what I'd like to do. So one thing I've noticed, we don't actually have a decent backup keeper because Lloris last season retired. But I think I found a decent second choice keeper. Mamardashvili, 24 years old, 84 rated. I think he'll do just fine. And for just over 40 million, we've got our man. Just call me the king of negotiations. And one thing I realised, we haven't really got any decent backup centre-backs, so I brought in Jimenez for just over 40 million. And with those signings added to the bench, the squad depth we've got now is ridiculous, but there's one position I want to buy for, that central attacking midfielder role. I've stumbled upon a certain Jamal Musiala from Bayern Munich, and guess what? He's only got 12 months left on his contract. And just like that, for only 110 million, we made this deal happen, and he is officially a Tottenham Hotspur player. Now, I'm not saying with this team we should win everything, but with this team we should bloody win everything. It's about damn time. We have finally won the Premier League with Tottenham Hotspur. It only took us 4 seasons. The one trophy we couldn't win, and we finally got it, thank God. We also won the Community Shield as well. That's 2 trophies already. This time, though, we didn't win the FA Cup. Okay, that's a little bit of a backstab. And we didn't win the Carabao Cup either. Oh my God. Okay, we won the Premier League, but at what cost? We have turned Europe into a joke. This is the 3rd season running we have won the Champions League now. And the 2 cornerstones of Tottenham Hotspur really showed up this season. 40 goals for Kane, 36 for Son. And the overall stats at the end of Season 4, Harry Kane is still our top goal scorer, but we have a new top assister in Heung-min Son, and we now have 8 trophies in our collection. So to begin our 5th and final season of the takeover with Spurs, we're going to spin the wheel to see if it's going to be kind to us, or it's going to be good to us, or if it's going to be bad. It looks like it's going to be bad. No transfers for Season 5 of this takeover. But looking at the squad, where do you actually improve it? It's got an incredible starting 11, which has basically won everything now. It's got an incredible subs bench for squad depth. I actually don't think we need any transfers. But I will admit, with this kind of money being given to us, I wouldn't have minded a couple of transfers at least. It's not a good start, guys. We didn't win the Premier League. Liverpool actually ran away with with it this time. Boys, it definitely isn't a good start. We haven't won the Community Shield either. Thankfully, we have won one trophy this season. We beat Man United to win the FA Cup. That's 9 trophies. We didn't even get to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, guys. This season is atrocious so far. Call that trophy number 10 because for the 4th time in this takeover, we've won the Champions League. Honest to God, we've destroyed the competition. And for the first time taking over Spurs, we've actually got a top goal scorer that isn't Harry Kane. James Maddison takes that pole this time. So overall, Kane was the top goal scorer, Son was the top assister, and overall they won 10 trophies in 5 seasons. 10 trophies is the target to beat for Arsenal. And at the end of the 5 seasons, this is the team that we built with Tottenham Hotspur. They won 10 trophies overall, as I've just mentioned. Now it's over to Arsenal to try and beat that. Now it's time to take over Arsenal for 5 seasons, and this is the team that I've loaded into. Now Arsenal have some seriously good players all around the pitch. For starters, you've got Martinelli, Jesus and Bukayo Saka up top. You've got Gabriel and Saliba, who've hardly put a foot wrong this season, as well as Martin Odegaard, who's seriously come into his own this season. And that's not to mention the squad depth that they got on the bench. This team is actually stacked. And to kick off this takeover, we've got just under 100 million to spend, but let's go to the wheel to see how many transfers were allowed. In season 1 of Spurs takeover, we couldn't make any transfers. Let's see if we get the same lot with Arsenal. Okay, it's going to 1. Is it going to stay at 1? I think it is. It's not much better than 0, but at least we're allowed to make 1 transfer this time. Now, Spurs have had a massive advantage going first because I'm not allowed to buy any of the players I bought for Spurs with Arsenal. Taking a look at Arsenal's team, there's not many weaknesses, but there's definitely one glaring one. Both fullbacks are the weakest part of this team by a country mile, but I've only got 1 transfer, so I'm going to have to choose one side, and I think I'm going to try and improve the right side. And after searching for a fair while, I've found my long-term right back, Achraf Hakimi, 84 rated, 23 years old, absolute baller. And for only 55 million, we have managed to bring Hakimi away from PSG. And with Hakimi in the team now, I think Arsenal's side looks way stronger. Now remember, Spurs won 10 trophies in 5 seasons, so we need to be averaging at least 2 trophies per season. Something tells me that won't be a problem for Arsenal. They've won the Premier League in their first season, and they didn't just win it, they won it by 9 points. They came so close to winning the FA Cup as well, but Newcastle beat them on penalties. It started to go downhill, boys. They didn't even make it to the semis of the Carabao Cup. Make that trophy number 2 because they've won the Europa League as well. What is going on with this Arsenal team? Season 1 stats are absolutely ridiculous. Saka, Jesus, Emile Smith-Rowe, Hakimi, Martinelli, every single one of them absolutely carrying this team. And the overall stats at the end of season 1, as you can see, Saka is both the top goal scorer and assist, and they've already got 2 trophies. We're going to start season 2 by spinning the wheel for Arsenal. It's already been an incredible start for them. Can they keep it going? This wheel does not like Arsenal. It looks like only 1 transfer this season as well. Now, with us only having 1 transfer, again, there's only 2 options I see us going with. Either getting a better midfielder over Xhaka or getting a better left-back over Tierney. Now, Tierney's in his 20s, so he can still have a lot of room for growth. However, Xhaka, I can't see him growing any more than he is right now. And look at that, 188 million to spend. You'll love to see it. Now, the player I'm looking to bring in has to have Premier League experience, which is why I think Tielemans is absolutely perfect. And for only 66 million, we managed to sign him from Barcelona. I can't believe they let him go for that cheap. And even with only 1 transfer being allowed, this team still looks absolutely insane. I could swear Spurs had 4 transfers and it didn't look this good. But last season, Arsenal won 2 trophies, and if they can keep that going until season 5, it's going to be very close at the end of this takeover. Well, boys, it's back-to-back Premier Leagues, this time followed very closely by Tottenham Hotspur. We're only beating them by 1 point. But we didn't win the Community Shield, we got beat by Newcastle. We didn't even get to the semis of the FA Cup. This isn't looking good. No Carabao Cup trophy either. What is going on? It's a bad season this time. We only won 1 trophy. The stats, however, are still really good. However, the success just didn't come with it this time. And the overall stats at the end of season 2, Saka is still the top goal scorer and Odegaard is now our top assister, but now we've only got 3 trophies. Boys, if we're allowed more than 2 trophies, I can see this team being capable of winning the quadruple. And trust me, we definitely have the money to spend. We just need the wheel to be on our side for once. For the past 2 seasons, we've only been given 1 transfer to work with. Oh my god, there's no way. This wheel hates Arsenal. We've been given no transfers. At this point with Spurs, we've been given about 5 or 6 transfers to make. We've only had 2 so far with Arsenal. What is going on? Don't get me wrong, this team is legit, but it can't last forever with no transfers. Or maybe I'm wrong, because for the 3rd season running, Arsenal have won the Premier League, and this time they won it by 5 points. It's ironic Spurs couldn't win the Premier League. Arsenal can't stop winning it. And they've also won the FA Community Shield. That's 2 trophies already. City. They didn't win the FA Cup this time. Did they win the Carabao Cup? They didn't win the Carabao Cup either. This isn't looking good at all. They made it to the Champions League final, but they got an absolute hammering by AC Milan, so it's only 2 trophies won this season. And these are the overall stats at the end of season 3, but Arsenal are in trouble. If they don't win 5 trophies at least in the next 2 seasons, Spurs have won this takeover. We now only have 2 seasons left with this Arsenal team. As you can see, the starting 11 is incredible, but we do need transfers this time. Hold on a minute, this team looks a little bit different. Where the hell is Tierney and freaking Partey gone? I am an absolute moron. Xhaka, Partey and Kieran Tierney have all left the club on a free. What the hell was I doing last season? This is a disaster, man. Not only have we not had many transfers, now this. What the hell's going to happen next? I think if the wheel doesn't give us any transfers this time, it's lights out for Arsenal. Oh my god, we may have just been given a lifeline. We are allowed 4 transfers in season 4 of this takeover. We may actually be able to pull this off. Now obviously we need a replacement for Thomas Partey and Kieran Tierney. That's obvious, but where else do we actually need players for in this squad? I think a backup goalkeeper is not a bad idea, because this guy definitely can't be relied upon if needed. And I'm also not seeing any centre-backs on the subs bench, so I think that might be a good idea as well. And luckily, we have been given plenty of money to work with, 336 million. Now for our centre-back, I'm thinking Lucas Hernandez would be a perfect option for that. And for only 40 million, it was a done deal. And for around the region of 20 million, we brought in England's #1 goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford. And now with the subs bench sorted, we now need to focus on the starting 11. We need a new CDM and we need a new left-back. And we still have over 250 million to spend, and with us trailing to Spurs by 5 trophies with only 2 seasons to go, I think we need to make this money count. Now after searching for a fair while, I have found their perfect CDM, Sandro Tonali. Just look at his stats, he's only 25 still, he's going to be perfect for this squad. And for a massive sum of 110 million, Sandro Tonali joins us from Manchester United. But remember, we still have 1 more transfer left to make as well. And on our 4th and final transfer, we really splashed the cash, over 120 million to bring in Alphonso Davies to Arsenal. And with that, the transfer window is done. Our team is now complete for the season, and oh my god, look at how good it has become over the past 4 seasons. Okay, this is a very good start. Arsenal have won the league. That is trophy number 6. Oh man, they missed a golden opportunity to get a trophy here. They lost in the FA Community Shield final against City. This isn't looking good. We didn't even make the final of the FA Cup. Arsenal are actually choking it. I can't believe what I'm seeing. We lost in the Carabao Cup final to Liverpool. If Arsenal haven't won the Champions League, Spurs have won the takeover, but to be fair, they got out of Group C, so that's at least a start. In the round of 16, where did they go? Okay, they battered Sevilla. Into the quarters we go. They just about beat Atletico Madrid in the quarters. In the semi-finals, they beat Liverpool. Okay, they've got to the final. If they win this, there is still a slight chance that they could be a draw. Oh my god, Arsenal, they've won 2 trophies this season. That's trophy number 7. Arsenal somehow are still in this takeover. And to be honest, this season's stats have been by a mile the worst. Even a freaking Saka fell off. What happened this season? And these are the overall stats at the end of season 4. Arsenal now have 7 trophies to their name in 4 seasons. If they next season somehow get the quadruple, they win the takeover. So as you guys know, in order for Arsenal to draw this takeover, they need 3 trophies this season. In order to win it, they need 4. But the whole starting 11 is on international duty. That's how good this team has actually become. Really, the only thing this Arsenal side needs is a better backup striker in Nketiah, and I think this team could actually do it. But for the final time in this takeover, let's spin the wheel. If Arsenal can just avoid 0 transfers this season, they may actually have a chance of pulling this out of the bag. They've got 1 transfer, and I think I know just who to buy. Yusufa Moukoko is one of football's brightest young prospects, so if anything happens to Jesus for whatever reason, I think he'd be more than capable of filling in his shoes. And for 60 million on the dot, Yusufa Moukoko is now officially an Arsenal player. So for the final time in this video, let's go to the end of the season and see how Arsenal have done. Okay, this is a very bad start. The 1 season they could have done with winning the Premier League, they actually don't win it. They finish 5th this time. I genuinely think they're going to bottle it. They couldn't even beat Southampton. Okay, trophy number 1 of season 5. That's 8 altogether. They beat Chelsea 4-3 on penalties to win the FA Cup. But they only make it to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, man. Arsenal are well and truly bottling it, aren't they? Made that trophy number 2 of the season, 9 overall. Arsenal have got a lifeline in the UEFA Super Cup. If they've won the Champions League, this takeover is officially a draw. So they absolutely smashed the group stage, as you would expect them to be fair. Round of 16, they beat Stade Rennais 4-3 overall. That is not a promising start, to be honest. Quarterfinals, they absolutely smashed Dortmund. That's a lot better. In the semi-finals, they beat Juve 2-1. Okay, this is it. It comes down to this. If Arsenal win the Champions League now, they have drawn this takeover. If they lose, it is Spurs who have won the first ever takeover battle. But what have Arsenal done in the Champions League? Okay, Arsenal have won the Champions League. It is officially a draw in the first ever takeover battle. I suppose we could let player stats have a say in who's won the takeover aside from the trophies being won. But for the first one, I'm going to let you decide who's won this takeover in the comments down below. And just taking a look at the team that we ended up with, how many 90 or 80 players are in this team? Oh my god. But the North London takeover battle ends in a draw as both Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur both get 10 trophies apiece. And if you enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure you should watch this video right here as well. Go on, it's just a click away, you know you want to.